Right now on Denver 7 News on Local 3, we could soon learn why the FBI raided former President Trump's Florida home.
It is not the government's job to tell the public what is meaningful.
The debate this morning over transparency versus protecting an investigation.
Increased fears this morning that our housing market might be headed for a recession.
We've seen that we've kind of reached this summit in our market.
What it means if you want to buy or sell a home right now.
And it's kind of like Black Friday for the ski season. One of Colorado's major retail chains moves its pre-season sale back to the traditional Labor Day weekend, which is just 2 weekends away.
Yeah, and I want to know, is it going to snow Labor Day weekend like it did 2 years ago, or wait until after Christmas like last year?
Yeah, I know.
Probably
we never
somewhere
know
in between.
here.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Thanks for joining us here on Local 3. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. I'm kind of getting ready for fall. Maybe not winter yet, but fall.
I do not want another branch-breaking storm. We just had that awful late season one. Yeah, let's hold it off for a little bit, right? I love, obviously, a beautiful time here in Colorado, fall, but today, well, still summer-like. We're going to be in the low to mid 80s, mid to upper 60s right now. A little mix of sun and clouds. You can see here from our Westminster camera, a pretty nice start to our day. We're going to be at about 72 degrees by 10 o'clock. It'll be a little cooler today. We hit a high of 90 yesterday. Today we're going to be at near 80 degrees by lunchtime, and then highs will be right around 82 to near 85. Low 90s near Pueblo and Lamar down to the southeast, and more 60s and 70s for the mountains. A little cooler for the high country. As we tap back into some of that monsoon moisture today, we're going to get a better chance for more moderate to heavy rainfall in spots. Here in town tomorrow, it's going to be cool and wet. I'll show you that on the Super 7 Day in just a minute. We're talking 70s again for highs on Saturday. So our second day of 70s, it looks like, Jason, in a week. Cool, very fall-like at times.
Yeah, it's going to feel great. Right now we have a good drive going on for us here this morning. In some spots, like out to the west side of town where you see a lot of green. It's over here to the east side of town that I'm seeing a lot of red and yellow, unfortunately, on that westbound side of I-70 right here at Colorado Boulevard. Take a look from the camera and you can see that we do have a crash here. Now they moved it off to the Gore Point. You see the remnants of it was sitting in the left lane. They moved over to the Gore Point. So this is between the express lane and the left lane on westbound I-70 here at Colorado Boulevard. So the overall drive time is at about 15 minutes. So as traffic starting to ease up, getting through there right now. 270 is busy. I-76 has been really crowded for us here this morning. There's been two separate problems. A northbound crash on 85 right there at Bridge Street. So we're a little slow coming in from in the Brighton area, and we also have that one at 124th and Highway 85. The south side of town, pretty quiet for us right now.
Well, the high cost of housing is a top concern for the majority of Coloradans. And now those costs are causing some home sales to tank. They've fallen now for 6 straight months.
Yeah, different ball game for buyers meanwhile, and it has many real estate experts saying the housing market is in a recession. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live because this could also mean a big price correction is on the way.
That's exactly it, and I bet a lot of ears just perked up with those exact words that you just said there, Brian. Maybe some hands reached for those remotes to turn up the volume a little bit. So here you go if you're watching, waiting for this news. A monthly report by the National Association of Realtors now says the sales of previously owned homes fell nearly 6%, and that was in July compared to June. That's the slowest sales pace right at the start of the pandemic. On top of still high interest rates, builders just aren't churning out enough homes. One estimate puts the shortfall as high as 4 million houses. In Colorado, I told you just last week about the dip in sales that we were seeing. Inventory is up, but so are prices, and really that's one of the things that kind of is balancing out these recession fears. Some analysts, and we do have to caution you, not everyone, is forecasting a price correction of 10 to 15% next year. When we talked with the Colorado Association of Realtors last week, they said the only thing we can really expect at this point is change.
I think everybody gets a little bit concerned whenever there's a shift or a change from what they've heard. And I almost want to caution buyers that there's always a shift. There's always a change. You know, the real estate market is a living, breathing thing. It ebbs and flows on a daily basis. And so, you know, I think any one of us could really hypothesize that the best time to buy was yesterday.
There is some optimism that sales could rebound in the fall when we start seeing other prices fall, things like gas, and if those interest rates don't rise again, and that really is the kicker there. We're live in Denver this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Yeah, but those rates have made the monthly payments so much higher. Thank you, Veronica. Now, actually, mortgage rates are dropping a bit. The average for a 30-year fixed is now 5.13%. But be prepared for more interest rate hikes. The Fed signaled that this week, and the president of the San Francisco Federal Reserve is predicting there will be rate increases into next year.
A federal judge in Florida says he is now leaning towards releasing some of the evidence the Justice Department collected to justify its search of former President Trump's home. The document could shed some light on the criminal investigation that led agents to Mar-a-Lago in the first place. ABC's Faith Abube is in Washington with the latest.
This morning, the Justice Department, under a court order to quickly propose redactions of the probable cause affidavit used to search former President Donald Trump's Florida estate. The magistrate judge who approved the FBI search warrant saying he's leaning towards the public seeing the DOJ's written justifications for the unprecedented move. Judge Bruce Reinhart adding, quote, "I am not prepared to find that the affidavit should be fully sealed."
He understands that the public is going to likely be entitled to some parts of this warrant application and its affidavit.
The judge's willingness to potentially unseal a redacted version of the search affidavit coming after lawyers for news organizations, including ABC News, argued the sensitive documents should be released because, quote, "transparency serves the public interest in understanding and accepting the results." Trump's lawyers also inside the courtroom Thursday, but taking no action to support the release, despite Trump saying on social media he wants the full unredacted version unsealed. The Justice Department, at least for now, wants the affidavit to remain secret, claiming that publicly releasing the sensitive documents at this point could jeopardize its criminal investigation. Since the FBI court-authorized search last week, angry Trump supporters have called for violence against federal investigators. And now DOJ lawyers say they're very concerned about the safety of the witnesses. The lawyers adding that a redacted version of the affidavit would be so heavily blacked out, quote, "there would be nothing of substance left."
It is not the government's job to tell the public what is meaningful in terms of the release of its own information.
And the Department of Justice has until next Thursday to file its proposed redactions, and then the judge would decide whether to unseal the affidavit. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
One of the local teenagers accused of intentionally starting a deadly house fire will go to trial. Kevin Bowie pleaded not guilty to 60 counts, including first-degree murder, arson, and burglary. He was 16 years old when prosecutors say he intentionally set fire to a Green Valley Ranch home 2 years ago, killing 5 family members from the Diol family. Bowie is now 18 and will be tried as an adult. 2 other teenagers were also charged in the case. Gavin Seymour faces the same charges as Bowie. He's scheduled to appear in court today. A third unidentified teen also faces dozens of charges and will be tried as a juvenile.
This morning, CU Boulder police are still looking for a man who sexually assaulted a young woman in her dorm. We told you about this yesterday morning. Police say the suspect knocked on the student's door at the Williams Village North Residence Hall. When the student answered, the man grabbed her by the neck and assaulted her. Police have only released a pretty vague description of the suspect. White male, college-aged, about 6 feet tall, dirty blonde hair, and they are urging everyone to stay in pairs right now and just be very careful. The number with information on the suspect is here on your screen.
Well, if you haven't already noticed how fast you're going, time to pay closer attention. School zone speed limits are back up and running.
Denver 7's Jessica Crawford joins us because, Jessica, police are going to be out there watching for those who have forgotten school's back.
That's right. Yes, after so many months without school, you might catch some drivers that are just used to speeding through school zones like this one. Well, come Monday, we have to be extra careful and slow down, be mindful of those new drivers on the road, of bikers and of walkers as well, because on Monday, Denver public school students are heading back to class. Denver police are going to be keeping an extra eye out at the school zones to make sure that people are minding the rules of the road and slowing down. They have these driving tips for commuters. First, stop for school buses that are loading and unloading students. Pay attention to those school crossing guards. And remember, stopped vehicles may be stopped to allow kids to cross the road. So stay alert and do not pass up those vehicles. Walking to the bus stop can be dangerous for small kids, so parents of younger children should consider walking them to and from their bus stop. Another really important tip: do not text, don't use your cell phone unless you're able to do so in a hands-free way. That way you protect yourself from any distractions and the injuries that can come from them, and you're also protecting those kids as well. Jason, we want to make sure that we get this school year off to a great start.
Oh yeah, you're not kidding. And that's one of the, it grinds my gears more than anything, seeing people go faster in a school zone. I hate that so much, because I mean, your kids, they are so vulnerable in that area, and they could run out in the street. So just keep an eye out for the kids. And also for other crosswalks, like here in downtown Inglewood on the south or northbound side of Broadway, just north of Hamden. Otherwise, the overall drive looks okay for the most part down here on the south side. It's up to the north side and out to the east that we have some problems. I'll detail those for you coming up in just a minute.
Last thing I want to do is grind your gears.
Yeah, my gears have been ground up. You don't want that.
It is going to be a pretty mild afternoon, low to mid 80s for us here in town today, cooler than yesterday. We'll get a few more building clouds, slight chance for a few storms. The mountains will see most of today's storms. Coming up, I'll show you just how much cooler it gets tomorrow. We'll be tracking some of that Saturday rain in just a few minutes.
Well, ski season is around the corner, and you have a big opportunity to save on new gear and lift tickets. The retailer's offering big sales for Labor Day weekend.
I'm John Matteries. Going back to college can be a lot more expensive than just going back to school. We have some great ways to save coming up.